Here is the latest on the printer app. Another day without a whole lot of actual UI changes that you can see, but again, I've made a lot of progress on the database and how I'm gonna actually do things in a better way. So the most important part about what's going on with this when I choose these different folders is I'm just reading the contents of the folder. The fact that it says Lustre Prints right here in 8x10 quantity 1, that's just coming from the folder names. So this particular order is this one right here. Lustre Prints, that middle line there is coming from the name of this folder, and these things are coming from the name of this subfolder inside of that. Originally, for my use case, I only have a couple of different catalogs: Lustre, Glossy, Pearl, Pro Lustre. I think those are the only 4 that I really care that I need to be able to support. So I had all this sort of hard-coded, and I've redone some of that after playing around with creating a products and catalogs database and trying to think how I could make this work. You know, what if somebody else wants to use this and has a sublimation product or a canvas product or something? It's just not going to work because I had hard-coded these things. So let's go back here. So this function, parse product, takes in the folder path of the folder that's selected, and then it splits it by the slash, which denotes where the folders are. So before so actually, I guess so we should show what it is right now. Right now, I'm letting the catalog name be catalog unknown in case down here I can't figure anything out. That's sort of like a default of what it'll show if it's all screwed up. But there's always going to be a folder name, so it's probably never going to show that. And then let's see. So this is roughly what the folder structure is. This is the parent folder where you're showing all of these subfolders in the UI, and then this is the order folder, one folder. This is a subfolder inside of that, it's 2 folder. Here's another folder inside of that folder, and then there's this new folder, and this one's kind of interesting. This doesn't show anywhere in the code for this folder path, because when I walk through the folders that are inside of this parent orders folder, I'm only going 2 folders deep because I know there might be another folder in there, and that's not what I want. I know the format is going to either be the order folder with a subfolder with the catalog name with a subfolder inside of that with the product name dash quantity dash the number of the quantity and then ends in each. Or it's possible these 2 folders would be concatenated together and it would say Lustre Prints 8x10 quantity 1. Both of those possibilities are covered in this parse product function. And if there's any other folders in here, I don't want them. This cache folder also doesn't show up anywhere in here because when I walk the folder, I know some folders I don't want to show up in the UI. I don't want images that are in this cache to show up randomly in the UI because I know they're just for the cache. So anything that starts with a period CACHE is not part of the data that's being passed into this parse product function because it's just not there. Right, that's true because this folder path, if you go look at what the console log actually tells you it is, this is the path, and I know what each path is that I want. So there is no path that includes the cache folder because I've already walked through the folders and I know which folders I want to keep track of and which one have the images in it that I want. So that gets back to over here. So now what I'm doing is I check and see if the part's length is more than or equal to 2. And where was that? And here are what the parts are. Parts, there's actually 5 because it includes 0. So if it's more than 2, I take the last folder which is going to be this one. I check to see if the last folder includes the string QTY quantity. And if it does, then I at least know I'm working with a structure that probably matches what I think it should be. Because anybody could make a folder in here in the order folder and do something weird. And I don't want those to show up. I think this isn't really going to control that. This is what's controlling the product name, the quantity for the product for that image, and then what the catalog name is. But still, it's all part of it. I want to make sure that at least the stuff matches what I think it's going to be. So if the last folder contains QTY, then I make the cat name the second to the last folder, which is this one. So the catalog would end up being Luster Prints. In the old way, right, so I'm now dynamically taking whatever that folder name is and making that the catalog name. The old way I was doing this was sort of hard-coded. I'd check and see what the last folder was, and here you can see I'm automatically taking the cat name and I'm naming it Luster because that was my default catalog. Then I would test the second to last folder, lowercase, to see if it includes the word Pro. If it included the word Pro, then I would say now the catalog name is Pro Luster. Then I would do the same thing for Glossy. And the order I did these was important because sometimes I have folders that, the folder might just be named Headshots. I would want those to fall under Luster because I know I don't have a Glossy or a Pearl or Pro Luster one. This just wasn't a great way to do it. It was going to work mostly for my use case, but probably not perfectly as I use it more. So now I'm no longer doing these weird hard-coded checks where I'm checking for Pro Luster, Glossy, or Pearl. Now I'm just going to take that folder name, whatever it is, and I'm going to put it in there. Then when I show you in a minute, I'll show you the product database that I'm going to build. If it doesn't exist, if this catalog name doesn't exist, then you'll just get an error when you go to print it. And then you'll need to go create a catalog that is named whatever that subfolder is named. And the subfolder for me is coming from my ordering system. If I don't like what that subfolder's name, I just go into the ordering system and change whatever that catalog name is, because that's where the subfolder's coming for me. Then down here, there's also, here's a possibility the structure I said earlier could be concatenated between the product name and the catalog name. Could all just be in one folder. Our ordering system supports that, makes it so there's less folders to click through, but it can be a little annoying if there's a mix of different catalogs. And so here I'm sort of doing the same thing. This code figures out how many parts there are and knows which one should be the catalog, I think counting backwards from here, separating on the dash. It's pretty complicated. Once it gets to work, I gotta be honest, I don't exactly know what it's doing. I've sat here and stared at this a few times, and I can work out what it's doing. It's counting backwards from the end because I can control this way. Sometimes there's the word uncropped at the beginning of it, and then I have a check for that. So that's now driving what the catalog name is here, where it says Luster Prints. That's literally coming from the folder. And the way I was doing it before, where I was checking to see if that included something, but then I was also having a default set to Luster, was kind of bad, because what if there was an extra subfolder in there that didn't mean anything and, I don't know, said Photoshop? It would have said Luster here instead of Photoshop, and you wouldn't really know there was something wrong. These two things would have broke also, but now I think this is just a lot safer. I was getting confused looking at stuff. How do I even trust what it says right here with the thing I had before, where I was checking to see if the string of that folder name contained Pearl or Pro or something? A lot of trust in that because there was always the default. I feel a little bit better about this now. So right now printing is going to be broken because I haven't plugged in the database. So I've spent most of my time working on what a database is going to look like. I've also rearranged the way the stuff on this page shows up. I've cleaned up the printers. This looks a little bit better. I've also changed where the profiles are. So now on a Noritsu, the profile is on each surface. If I go edit this, there's 1, 2, 3, 4 surfaces on the Noritsu. So that matches the little flags on the paper magazines in the way the Noritsu is set up. I've more or less removed the concept of a profile from the other folder types, Noritsu, darkroom command file, or a hot folder. For me, if I'm going to use one of these two things, wherever that file is going to end up, that program probably has a profile that it's using instead. So I don't really need to put a profile on it inside here. Maybe I'll change my mind about that, but I think that's probably a pretty good choice. So now I have this catalogs and products section on the settings. So I already have a catalog that I created called Luster Prints. And it's important that I match this to what one of the folder names is going to be. So this folder name is Luster Prints. If I go look at some of these other ones, that one's still Luster Prints, I think down at the bottom. Right, this one's called Package Prints. So in my prior way I was doing this would have been the fallback to Luster. Now it's going to say package prints in the UI. What is this? 2343. If we go look back over to here on the home, 2343. Right now it's saying package prints. I feel like this is a lot more safe. If you're the operator printing these orders, you can at least know that's what the folder said, and you can, that's going to be, to me, that's a sense of security that wasn't there the way I was doing it before. So same thing, in order for me to be able to print that order, I'm going to have to create a package called package prints or whatever that was. So you could do that here. And now I have a new catalog, doesn't have any products. And then you just add a product here. And let's just say this is 8x10. We'll say it's only available on a Noritsu. It's Surface 2 again, 254, 203. And that's all I'll fill out. I haven't done the darkroom or the regular hot folder workflows for when you print them yet, so I'm sort of ignoring them. I think I have the things in there that I want. Under the darkroom part, this is going to end up using a command file, and it has a setting for a darkroom template, and then it also wants the literal size of a product in darkroom. So just in case the size is going to match up to what the folder says on the order, maybe this is going to say something else, magazine cover or something. That's not going to be a darkroom size. That's going to be an 8x10 and then maybe a template on it or something. I don't know. I haven't gotten that far yet, but I think it'll work. So I'm just going to save this. So now I have an 8x10 for the package prints catalog. If you build out a catalog and it's got a whole bunch of products, then there's going to be this is a duplicate catalog. So you'd want to start with the catalog that has the most products, fill that in, and then for us, like we have a pro pricing catalog and a full service catalog. They both have the same products in it. They're just different prices. So you'd want to make one of those first, duplicate it, because all the products would be the same, and then just change the name of the catalog. I've put a fair amount of thought into that. I think that's the best way to do it, or at least the simplest way for me to implement it. There might be a better way to do it. I've thought of other things where you just have a list of products and then you check a box for how many catalogs it can print on, and that I just felt like that was going to be a problem. Is there anything else that we've done since then? I don't think we've done anything else since then. There is an interesting thing that I've learned for Electron is if it pops up a dialog, let's see, how do I get it to do that? Right, this type of dialog, after I close it, the UI is not going to work very well. Let's see. Right, I can't click in this input anymore. That was hours of my life figuring out that is this window is I think this is like an HTML window. What is it? I can't remember what the name of it is. Not a dialogue. If you use this, I have to click somewhere else. So if I click somewhere off my screen, I clicked outside of the app, cancel this. Now if I add a catalog, still didn't work. Let's see. So I clicked on my other screen and come back. Now I can edit here. So the secret here is you need to use a different kind of prompt window that's built into Electron. And now when I do this, I get an error. Oh my God. All right, I think that's the end of this video. Right, I can't delete a catalog that has products. I did that a minute ago. I can't decide whether I like that or not. Do you really want to go back through and delete all the products? Probably should just be a pop-up to warn you you're about to delete a bunch of stuff. It's not really an error. Phew. All right, I think that's it.